So apparently Gen Z is failing college. They don't know how to read, they don't know how to write, and ultimately they're entering the workforce underprepared despite spending all that time and money in college training for that said profession. Unfortunately, many professors across the country are quitting in droves. This has been going on for the past few years. Many professors are saying that they simply just can't teach these kids anymore. It's become way too difficult as many of these Gen Z students are not showing up to class prepared, they don't want to learn, and they're using things like AI, ChatGPT to basically do all their homework and essays for them. Teaching them has become a huge burden, which we'll uncover in this video. Now, over the course of the year on this channel, we've talked about just how education here in the United States seems to have taken a huge step backward. And it seems like it's only getting worse, especially with stories like this and huge trends like this one that we're seeing where Gen Z is not really doing too well. They're not doing too hot in college. One of the huge driving forces that we can point the finger at here is students are increasingly using things like ChatGPT to basically do all their homework and essays for them.
Why are you doing this?
We're still gonna know.
These college professors say students are increasingly cutting and pasting AI-generated text in their essays, and that is cheating. These professors say they're not falling for it, and there are often three extremely obvious giveaways. Number one, the essay is suspiciously perfect.
A ChatGPT generated essay looks like it was written by a very competent 12th grader.
AI-generated text has no mistakes. It's like robotically bland text.
I remember taking my master courses a few years ago when ChatGPT came out. It was like the last semester of my master's degree. And I noticed that a lot of students didn't really know what this ChatGPT was, but towards the end of the year, so many people were using it. And after I graduated, I quickly learned that a lot of the students that I went to school with that were a few years younger, they were using it in droves. Everyone was using this brand new ChatGPT. People were using it in high school and people were using it in college. And when you go to college, you basically go there to buy a degree, right? You buy an education. But you're having this random AI do all the work for you. I mean, in my opinion, it really doesn't make too much sense. You spent all that money, you're just gonna put all this into this AI algorithm. Mind you, a lot of this AI stuff really isn't the best. It's gonna give you a lot of really bad information, and college professors can definitely pick up on that.
ChatGPT has gotten a lot dumber over the past couple months. A research study from Stanford just came out comparing GPT-4 and 3.5 answer quality over the past several months. And the results are absolutely damning. Back in March of 2023, GPT-4 was significantly better at solving math problems and also code generation. It is much less likely to answer sensitive questions, and its visual reasoning has also dropped.
We've seen countless news stories saying that AI, like ChatGPT, can actually pass a bar exam. It can pass many of these difficult exams in college. But professors have known about this for a while now, basically when it came out. Now they're using other AI algorithms to catch their students cheating. And this has been going on for the past few years. This is happening all the time now.
If the word moreover shows up in your paper, there is a 99% chance that AI has written it. I've never heard a 20-year-old use the word moreover in their life, but I've seen the word moreover show up in a bunch of submissions this semester.
Look, when I was in school and ChatGPT really wasn't a thing, to cheat, it took a lot of effort. It took a lot of effort from the students that did it, and there wasn't a really easy tool like there was now with ChatGPT. Now every student can do it. Every student can basically make their own essay. If we take a look at a lot of these comments, people basically are like, yeah, I use ChatGPT all the time, or, oh, just change a few words and you'll basically outsmart your teacher. And I think that's happening a lot. That's happening a lot in our country, in high school and in the college levels. They're taking advantage of this tool because it's easy. It's an easy way to get probably a B or a C. And like anyone that's gone to college, you know the struggle of staying up past midnight to finish that essay that's due the next day. It takes you hours. Sometimes it can take you like 12, 10 hours just to write one essay, sometimes even longer if it's one of those really important like midterm exams or final exams. But you have this tool like ChatGPT that can basically make you an essay in maybe like an hour. You can basically change a few words and bam, there you go, there's an essay. But when you write an essay, you have to do basically all the boring stuff. You have to do all the research that takes time, which is, unfortunately part of the college experience. But it's kind of like one of those things like working out. It's only going to make you better because you're learning all this information by reading. That kind of brings us to this point that a lot of these college students don't really know how to read or write.
The elite college students who can't read books. That's the title of an article in the Atlantic magazine. It's got people talking for about a week now. It interviews 33 professors at the very best universities in the whole country, and every single one of them, across categories of literature and subject matter, say the best students in America find it impossible to finish a book, struggle to encounter and make it through new ideas, lose their ability to follow the big argument while getting the small details, and just bottom line are showing up in office hours and saying, I can't do this.
Wow. And if they're using AI tools like ChatGPT or other tools that are constantly being advertised to them, they're not really going to pick up on those writing skills. And they're not going to be able to read at that college level. I think one of these like important points that a lot of people have been discussing is, would you want like your doctor, your nurse, or your like dentist to have basically passed all their college courses by using ChatGPT? And these are the people that are going to be like our doctors pretty soon, in the next 5, 10, 15 years. A lot of them had just, gone by using all these AI tools. It's kind of a scary thought to think about. You might have a lot of these underqualified people entering these highly skilled professions because they really know how to use these AI algorithms. That's one of the main worries here with, academics or people in academia, is that they're going to be passing a lot of these students that ultimately don't really possess the skills to pass that said degree coursework.
A university English professor is terrified by the sharp decline she's seeing among her students, and she says it's the worst she's ever encountered. There's been a lot of talk recently about what seems to be a pretty shocking literacy crisis among America's kids, but it's definitely not just the youngsters. This university professor says she's alarmed by how many of her students don't read and write terrible essays, and then are completely unable to understand why they get bad grades.
And this brings us to our next point. College professors are quitting in big numbers. This is a very similar trend to a topic in a video that we covered a few months ago, in which a lot of teachers in the United States were quitting because of Gen Alpha. Now this time, Gen Z, they're the ones that are making a lot of these college professors quit. Like things that we've talked about in this video, ChatGPT being a very easy tool to use, basically takes all the fun and all the learning out of a lot of these students' repertoire. And professors are just fed up. They don't want to deal with this. They went through all that coursework way back in the day. They got their PhDs, most of them. It took them years, hundreds of hours to get there. And they're seeing these students just swing on by just using these AI tools, and there's nothing that they can really do about it a lot of times. They can only catch so many of these students using the tools, but if you go to places like Reddit, you can see people making a snapshot on the current situation, basically saying that everyone is using these AI tools. People are basically taking advantage of them because it's easy. And unfortunately, this is only going to get worse. Those Gen Alpha kids that we talked about in that one video, well, eventually, they're also going to go to college soon. And this is only going to make more professors fed up and unable to basically do their job and teach what they were trained to do for decades. I think it's a really sad sight. You have these college professors that put so many hours into their work, into their craft, and you have these students going into their classes, a lot of them paying thousands of dollars to be there just to use these AI algorithms, or not really pay attention, not really want to put in the work there. It's really troubling. If we take a look at some interesting data here from Grammarly, and if we know what Grammarly is, it's basically an app that improves your grammar and overall structure of whatever you're writing. It could be an essay, it could be a paper, whatever it may be. But they found out that from 2018 to 2023, students have actually gotten worse at grammar. The grammar error rate has increased 15% in just about 5 years. That's insane. You know, was it COVID? Was it the pandemic that really exacerbated a lot of these issues in education? I would probably say yes. I think it had a huge role to play. You basically had every student across the world and country have an off year, a year of education in which they really didn't learn too much because of all the craziness that was going on. And in some places it was up to 2 years. So we had that entire environment, that entire remote environment in education. And it definitely had a huge impact on the way that these students were able to learn. When the pandemic happened, I believe I was actually a sophomore or junior in college. And I would say it really didn't affect college students too much because you kind of already did have like remote and online courses in place. It didn't really do too much to our like education psyche, but definitely it had a huge impact on a lot of these students that were in high school and middle school and elementary school. You basically wipe out an entire year or two of education. You're going to be pretty certain that you're going to have some damaging effects in the long run, and that Grammarly study definitely suggests that. And another interesting study for you here. According to the National Assessment of Education Progress from the year 2012 to 2022, the rate of students entering college and having a adequate reading proficiency level dropped from 40% to 31%. That's a huge drop in just 10 years. I would beg to differ that this is probably only going to get worse as all these Gen Alpha trends that we're seeing are going to transpire. I think another interesting thing that we're seeing with AI is that it's taking a lot of the creativity out of creative roles like video editors or graphic designers. With tools like Canva or CapCut Pro, a lot of people, a lot of students are able to make a lot of their work just using AI. They're using AI for PowerPoints and presentations as well, which is good, but at the same time, it takes sort of a creative mindset to be able to do that. Overall, this is a very interesting situation. Gen Z not being able to do well in school. It's something that a lot of people shouldn't be too surprised about with the invention of social media, with the introduction of AI, and overall a generation that really doesn't value college as much, at least the academics of it, as previous generations. I think it's kind of troubling because college is a good thing. It provides a lot of expertise and a lot of knowledge and training for those people that are going to take on those really high skilled professions in the future. And if we don't have those people in the future, then we're in for a world of hurt. In total, I want to know what you guys think about this entire situation. Do you think this is blown out of proportion and Gen Z is actually doing well in college? Or do you think that we're seeing a huge negative effect on education here, and it's definitely having some huge ramifications for Gen Z and the college experience and unfortunately a lot of professions for years to come? And like always, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It really helps us out and it helps grow the channel. And like always, we'll be back with another video. Thanks so much for the support.